Right now, we are tracking multiple breaking stories, the first being another shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. The latest on that ahead.
And happening now, an overturned semi-truck is blocking lanes on I-39 near Madison. If your morning commute takes you north of the city, you're going to want to have a heads up on this. We're live on the scene with how it's affecting the morning commute.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Thursday. Thanks for joining us on this October 24th. I'm Josh Brighter.
And I'm Susan Simon, filling in this week for Leah Linscheid. Hattie is here with the weather, and all's quiet outside, a little colder than yesterday.
Yeah, it certainly is. It doesn't quite feel like late October. Temperatures are a little colder than they should be, but we will have pretty quiet conditions. Take a live look at our current conditions. We've dropped another couple degrees here in Madison. We're down to 36. Wind chills 32 with just a real light west-northwesterly wind. Skies are partly cloudy right now. Here's a look at current temperatures elsewhere across our region. It's warmest through the Wisconsin River Valley, where temperatures are still around 40 there. 33 though in the Dells, 35 in Juneau this morning. Our temperatures over the next 12 hours will climb back into the mid-40s today. Even with some sunshine, that's a little cool, about 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps. Things are pretty quiet in the city of Madison, but north of the city, an earlier accident is causing some pretty big delays. I-39 southbound is closed between Highway 19 and 51. Looks like backups waiting to get on to Highway 19 are extending about 2 miles at this hour. So you want to avoid that area if you can.
All right, Hattie, thank you very much. And as Hattie was just mentioning, there are heavy delays this morning on the interstate after a crash involving that semi.
It's blocking traffic north of Madison. Our Christina Laurie is there live.
Hi, Susan and Josh. We just wanted to give all drivers who might be coming from Madison's north side a heads up that you might need to find an entirely different route to go altogether. That's because, as you can see behind me, crews are working to try to clear all lanes of I-39. This is just as you approach Highway 51. They're blocked because of this semi-truck after an accident that happened around 4 a.m. this morning. Right now we're learning that a car hit a deer and then this semi-truck hit that car, causing the truck to flip onto its side. Dane County Dispatch tells us both the driver of the semi and the driver of the car are in the hospital this morning. No word on their condition right now, but we expect a press release to come out later this morning. And of course, when we get that information, we'll be sure to pass it along to you. But the biggest thing to know right now is that if you're driving into work this morning, leave plenty of extra time. Drivers right now are being rerouted, diverted onto Highway 19, so that'll add a few extra minutes to your commute. We're just north of the airport here to give everyone a perspective of where we are.
All right, we'll continue following this.
Susan.
Christina Laurie live for us this morning. Christina, thank you.
Thanks, Christina. We're following more breaking news this morning after an officer-involved shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas.
Now, this comes almost 3 months after a mass shooting at a different Walmart in that same city where 22 people were killed and 24 more were injured. It happened in the parking lot of a Walmart supercenter less than 10 miles from the scene of the August mass shooting. Police started escorting people out of that store around 1:30 this morning after they'd cleared that scene.
Some more local breaking news overnight. Investigators are looking into what might have caused a fire at a mobile home in Marshall. It started around 9 last night on the 100 block of Blue Spruce Lane across from the Dollar General store. Crews were on the scene for more than 4 hours into this morning. We're continuing to watch this developing story on the air and online at Channel3000.com.
We're also expecting to hear from Beloit Police this morning as the department actively searches for at least one suspect after a shooting on 10th Street.
The 19-year-old victim is in critical but stable condition this morning. Beloit's police chief says the victim was shot multiple times. He's not exactly sure how this started, but he does know it started around 6 o'clock yesterday evening. That's when police say shots were fired and a suspect went on the run. Even though there haven't been any arrests in this case, police say they think the shooting was targeted and the public is not in any immediate danger.
A verdict could come today in a Janesville homicide case. Julian Colazzo is accused of stabbing 43-year-old Christina Scasia Lubeck inside her home in 2017. The jury deliberated for a few hours already yesterday after hearing from witnesses over the course of 3 days, including Colazzo himself. We'll be sure to share the verdict as soon as it comes down.
In Stevens Point, a man faces life in prison after a jury found him guilty of killing his wife. It took the jury 2 hours to come to its decision. Jason Cipher's wife, Krista, hasn't been seen since March of 2017. More than a year later, Jason was arrested and charged with her murder and hiding her body, which still has not been found. Cipher's defense team says they plan to appeal the verdict.
A Missouri cattle farmer will be in court today after being officially charged with killing 2 Wisconsin brothers. 25-year-old Garland Nelson is accused of fatally shooting Nick and Justin Diemel of Shawano County. The brothers had driven to Nelson's farm to collect a $250,000 check. Police say he then burned their bodies and tried to hide the remains in manure. The 2 were first reported missing in July.
More local news now. The number of officers leaving the Madison Police Department is growing each year. In the last 5 years, 53 officers quit the Madison Police Department. Interim Chief Vic Wall says there's a lot going into their decision, but number one is workload. Officers are stretched to cover shifts because the staffing isn't there. He said they need 31 more officers, but the 2020 city budget currently isn't written to give any more than 12.
We simply can't have a workload that keeps expanding, a city that keeps growing, and not have staffing to match that. You know, something will have to give.
Alder Keith Furman on the Finance Committee says there isn't enough money in the budget to add all of the officers the department wants, and he's looking at incentive programs for people in the department. The full council will meet again to finalize the budget in November.
Madison police are still trying to figure out who left a gun on Leopold school grounds. The unloaded weapon was found and picked up by a 5-year-old Tuesday. Police say a school employee was able to quickly take it from that child. Now, this is the second time in just over a year that a gun has been found at the school. Police are using surveillance footage to try and identify who left the weapon.
There are no hearings today or tomorrow in Washington, D.C. for the ongoing impeachment inquiry into President Trump. Yesterday, though, was an eventful one as House Republicans stormed a secure room where a Pentagon official was testifying.
The House members complained of the secretive nature of the investigation.
If a government can do this to the President of the United States, they can do it to you as well.
I guess when you're desperate, you go back to complaining about the process.
Now, many of the 24 Republicans who halted Laura Cooper's testimony are the committees conducting the investigation and also taking part in the closed-door hearings. This comes just a day after President Trump told Republicans to get tougher on impeachment. Now Republicans want the anonymous whistleblower whose complaint triggered the impeachment probe to testify publicly.
We now have a better idea how Wisconsinites are feeling about the impeachment inquiry. 799 people answered questions last week for the latest Marquette Law School poll. 49% of those polled say they're against the inquiry. 46% say there is enough cause for it. We see a slightly bigger gap when those same people were asked if President Trump should be removed from office. 44% in favor, 51% against. However, more people support removing him from office now compared to polling from earlier this year.
Vice President Mike Pence is back in D.C. after making a stop in Wisconsin. The vice president toured Uline Wednesday, a packaging company in Pleasant Prairie. He talked about turning up the heat on congressional Democrats to pass the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. He canceled a planned trip to Marinette earlier in the day so he could join the president as he updated the nation on developments in Syria.
Speaking of, CBS News is being given rare access to Turkish troops as they crossed the border into an area once controlled by America's Kurdish allies. Yesterday, President Trump said he is lifting sanctions after Turkey agreed to a permanent ceasefire against the Kurds in Syria. The president's special envoy for Syria, James Jeffrey, says U.S. forces have seen evidence of Turkish war crimes against the Kurds and revealed that dozens of ISIS prisoners have escaped. Jeffrey also testified ISIS is pitching the U.S. withdrawal as a victory and is warning of consequences of leaving before the mission to beat ISIS is done.
Back in the U.S., the body of a former U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings will lie in the U.S. Capitol today. Cummings died last week at age 68 from complications related to long-standing health problems. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the formal service is open to members of Congress, the Cummings family, and invited guests. It will be followed by a public viewing. A wake and funeral for Cummings is planned for tomorrow in Baltimore at the church where he worshiped for nearly 40 years.
Animal cruelty could soon be a federal felony. The U.S. House unanimously passed the bill yesterday. The PACT Act stands for Preventing Animal Cruelty and Torture. It will go to the Senate for a vote, which hasn't been scheduled yet. Right now, federal law only explicitly prohibits animal fighting.
10 minutes past 6 o'clock right now. The Milwaukee Bucks officially tip off their season tonight with high expectations.
They'll be looking to top their success of last season when they won the most games in the league but fell 2 games short of the NBA Finals. They lost guard Malcolm Brogdon to the Indiana Pacers in the offseason, but they bring back reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. They'll get a tough challenge, though, tonight right out of the gate in Houston against James Harden, Chris Paul, and the Rockets. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock.
Houston sports fans will be hoping for happier news after seeing their Astros fall behind 2-0 in the World Series. The Washington Nationals are now just 2 wins away from their first ever World Series title. This after taking Game 2 last night. Now, they scored 10 runs in the final 3 innings last night to run away with a 12-2 win. Game 3 is tomorrow night in D.C.
Still to come this morning, I almost said tonight. Concussions are a major concern for the parent of every athlete. When we come back, we're sitting down with Dr. Mara to discuss those concerns and what you need to know to keep your kids safe.
But first, another chilly morning at the bus stop. A pretty calm out there this morning. Temperatures staying well below 50. Hattie's got what you need to know coming up next on News 3 Now this morning, Susan.
This
Good morning from the patio. It's a little chilly outside and still a bit damp on the patio here, but the rain has come to an end. If you're wondering how much rain we got last night, most areas, again, picking up less than 1/4 of an inch, but there were a few spots with some heavier rain totals, closer to 1/2 an inch, just east of Madison over towards Watertown, and then down in between Monroe and Janesville, some heavier rain there. But again, about a 1/10 of an inch here at Madison, just over a 10th, 0.14 overnight for the rain. Doppler track pretty quiet right now around here, but what you'll notice as we zoom the map out is that there is some snow pretty far south this morning in the country. We have snow south of Denver, across parts of Kansas, and it is going to sink southward through the day today, so it could be snowing later on in parts of northern Texas, whereas we stay pretty quiet here. Here's what's happening on a wider view. Weather track showing you a cold front has moved through the area. That's with that rain last night. Now Canadian high pressure building in from the west. This is going to keep our weather pretty quiet and really suppress all the precipitation and keep it to the south of us for the next couple of days. Temperatures currently across the northern tier of the United States are pretty close to the freezing point in many locations. We're just a little bit warmer than that here in Madison. 36 degrees is our current temperature. We're still dropping, though. I would expect temperatures to drop another couple of degrees before the sun comes up. It's down to 33 in the Dells. The warmest spots this morning are in the Wisconsin River Valley, where temperatures are still near 40 degrees. Northwesterly winds are present this morning, but they're pretty light, and they'll stay light through the day. They're dropping the wind chills just a couple of degrees lower than the actual temperature. But that means in the Dells, it feels like it's 28 degrees, and in Camp Douglas, it feels like 25 this morning. Your future track forecast model has clear skies this morning, turning partly sunny through the afternoon. Temperatures will be back in the low 40s by lunchtime, climbing to highs only in the mid-40s this afternoon. That's about 10 degrees cooler than we were yesterday. Temperatures will drop pretty quickly overnight tonight. Skies remain clear, and I expect most spots to be in the 20s tomorrow morning. So that means a hard freeze is likely tonight. It'll be the first time below freezing here in Madison for several months. Our extended forecast has cool temperatures on Friday, but we do start to warm things up a little bit for the upcoming weekend. Now let's get a look at your first alert traffic this morning. We'll send it over to Jason Stone. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning. No issues on the Bell Line this morning. Expect minor crowding on the Stoughton and Verona interchanges. All lanes on the southbound interstate beyond the Highway 19 exit are closed due to a crash. Drivers should exit at 219, head east to 51 to get back onto the interstate. Commuters not having any problems making their way downtown or finding a spot to park. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
Jason and Hattie, thank you both very much. Coming up on 6:18 right now. So if you're a parent of a kid who plays sports, you've probably been worried about the possibility of concussions.
Oh, it's a very serious issue. And here to talk about some of the sports with the highest risks and what parents need to know is Dr. Mandira Mira from SSM Health. Good morning. Good morning. To see you.
How's it going?
Great. Thanks for being here so early on a Thursday.
Yep, I love doing it.
So it's sports. I mean, you automatically think concussions in football or hockey, but it's much broader than that now, right?
It is, and we were just talking during the break that it can happen to anybody anywhere. I've seen kids from 3-4 years old hanging out at the playground on the jungle gym, all the way up to college athletes and older.
Yeah.
So it's not just restricted to the children, although this is really important, and the more awareness we can raise, the more we can prevent concussions, the more we can treat concussions sooner. So the first thing is, what is a concussion? A concussion is basically a mild traumatic brain injury. Does not necessarily have to show up on imaging, and what that means is you can have a CAT scan, you can have an MRI, changes may not show up on there. You may not have bleeding in the brain. You may not have had a loss of consciousness. All it has to be is usually a blow to the head. Could be violent, could be from football, soccer, hockey, wrestling, things like that. And it can result in basically brain injury. Now, what's happening in that concussion is we think that the nerves in the brain get stretched. They endure some kind of stretch injury. When that happens, that releases chemicals into the brain, which then alters how the brain is processing. So almost think of it as like when your computer is failing, when it has like a virus and you're kind of clicking, and at first it's slowing down, and eventually it just crashes on you. That's kind of what's happening in a a concussion, is the circuitry of the brain just isn't firing right, it's not processing right. So the symptoms can be varied. People want to look for things like nausea, vomiting, headache, dizziness, maybe visual changes. Maybe your child reports, well, I'm just not processing right, I'm not able to get through my homework, maybe after reading for an hour or two, I'm getting a headache. And then you put 2 and 2 together and you say, oh, well, last week during soccer, they did have that head injury. And so we know the contact sports, things like the hockey, football, soccer, wrestling, things like that definitely have twice as many ER visits or emergency room visits for traumatic brain injury. So it's not that we want to tell people to avoid all these sports, because like we were talking about, kids love these things, adults love these things, and of course they're so much fun, but to really be aware that if a traumatic brain injury has happened, if collision has happened, to look out for these signs and symptoms. You definitely want to talk to a healthcare provider. If you see any red flag symptoms, nausea, vomiting, anything like that, definitely going to the ER right away and not delaying.
All right, Dr. Mara, as always, we love having you here.
Great information. Yeah, great to see you.
Great being here.
All right, still ahead for us right now on a Thursday morning. The city of Madison is continuing to work to prevent the major flooding we saw last year. We'll tell you what they're doing to make sure it doesn't happen again.
And a chilly morning at the bus stop. It's colder this morning than it was yesterday, but the sun will be shining bright as the kids head home from school today. You're watching News 3 Now this morning. It's 20 after 6. We'll be right back.
.24 right now on a Thursday morning. Still dark out there, kind of cold, but we're going to see the sunshine again today. I'm trying to come up with something to say.
Sunrise getting later and later every day. Again, can't see much from the Edgewater Skycam, but no fog in the area today.
It's clear.
So,
bright spot.
Yes, temperatures are cool though. Take a look at these numbers. 36 here in Madison, 34 in Watertown, 34 in Juneau. down to 33 in the Dells. It's a chilly start to the day. Still a little damp from that rain as well that we had late yesterday, so it's a cool day. Wind speeds are light from the west-northwest. They will stay light through the day today. There is a bit of a wind chill factor this morning. North of Dane County, we're noticing some wind chills in the 20s this morning. For the rest of the area, wind chills at least in the 30s. As the kids head to the bus stop, though, you might want to step up the jacket game a little bit today. It's going to be about 10 degrees cooler than it was yesterday, starting in the mid-30s this morning, climbing into the low 40s by lunchtime, topping only in the mid-40s this afternoon. We will have some sunshine, but it is going to stay cool today. Have a wonderful Thursday.
Hattie, thank you. Breaking news overnight, thousands of people in California are being left in the dark for the second time in 2 weeks. The state's largest utility is shutting off power again near San Francisco in hopes of preventing the spread of more wildfires. The utility says the hot and windy weather can toss leaves and debris into power lines, sparking flames. The outage is planned to last for about 48 hours, but another planned blackout is looking likely for Saturday.
This year's extreme weather continues to delay the harvest across Wisconsin. Farm Director Pam Yankee is reporting the corn is behind 25 days, almost 4 weeks compared to last year. She says soybeans are also behind by 13 days over 2018. Now, because of such a late harvest, some reports show that winter wheat planting may be prevented this season.
Madison's engineering division is continuing to take your feedback on the ongoing flooding issues, hosting forums like the one at Elver Park neighborhood last night, not far from where James Sewell drowned last summer, swept away by rushing floodwaters near Gentry Park.
We know that floods are serious. They can be deadly, but we can try to prevent the rising water as much as possible so we have a resilient infrastructure for the future.
These meetings let the public take part in the watershed studies and help city engineers identify trouble spots to find solutions. The next meeting is this coming Tuesday at Meadow Ridge Library on Raymond Road.
It is 6:26 right now. Still ahead, we have the top 3 things you need to know this morning before you head out the door.
And we're taking a live look right now at I-39 where an overturned semi has blocked traffic for several hours this morning. We'll have the very latest on how it'll affect your commute in a live report, and it's straight ahead on News 3 Now this morning. Stay with us.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for staying with us on this Thursday, October 24th. I'm Josh Breiter.
And I'm Susan Simon, filling in this week for Leah Linscheid. We'll get an update on Hattie's forecast. It's a cold one today in just a second. But first, here are the top 3 things you need to know today. We're following breaking news this morning after an officer-involved shooting at a Walmart in El Paso. This comes almost 3 months after a mass shooting at a different Walmart in that same city, where 22 people were killed and 24 hurt. The CBS affiliate in El Paso is reporting an officer shot a man fleeing the scene after driving a suspected stolen car to that Walmart. Police say the man is dead and the 2 officers involved are at the hospital.
Republicans brought House Democrats' impeachment investigation of President Trump to a temporary halt Wednesday. About 24 GOP House members forced their way into a closed-door deposition with Defense Department official Laura Cooper. She later testified after a 5-hour delay. Now, this comes just a day after President Trump told Republicans to get tougher on impeachment.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent more than 6 hours in front of the House Financial Services Committee yesterday testifying about his plans for a new cryptocurrency. However, Zuckerberg has faced a bipartisan backlash on a variety of topics, including election security, online privacy, and policing harmful content.
Those are your top 3 things you need to know this morning. Hattie's here now with your out-the-door weather and traffic. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning, Josh and Susan. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. We're now able to see some light on the horizon. Sunrise at 7:22 this morning. It is a chilly start to the day, but skies are partly cloudy across southern Wisconsin. Some holes have developed in the cloud cover overnight. Still a little bit of cloud cover, though, lingering in the southwestern corner of the state. We're looking at partly sunny skies today. Temperatures starting in the 30s this morning. We'll climb to highs, though, only in the mid-40s. So as you head out the door, you definitely want a jacket today. It's going to be a chilly day today with highs only around 44 later on this afternoon. Winds will stay light, though, through the day. Let's take a look at what's happening on the traffic maps this morning. There's that accident that has occurred earlier, blocking, or I should say closing, the southbound side of I-39 between Highway 19 and 51. There are some pretty significant delays there as people route around that accident. Here in Madison, no major delays showing up just yet on the Beltline. The usual crowd at Stoughton Road, though, with some brake lights there. And that's your first alert traffic.
Hattie, thank you. And we continue to monitor that crash on the interstate involving a semi this morning.
Right. It's blocking traffic north of Madison just as the morning commute is really getting underway at this hour. Christina Laurie is live at the scene with the latest. Christina?
Susan and Josh, this could create quite the chaos for drivers. If you usually take I-39 heading south into Madison, you might want to find another way to go. As you can see, crews behind me been working for almost 2 hours now to try to remove this truck from the road. It flipped on its side after the car in front of it crashed into a deer, and then this truck, according to dispatch, crashed into that car. Both the driver of the car and of the truck were both taken to the hospital. They're being treated for their injuries. No word yet on their condition. We expect to find that out later this morning. But in the meantime, all lanes of I-39 just north of Highway 51 are shut down. So drivers are being rerouted onto Highway 19 in the meantime. So be sure to keep that in mind as you head to work if you usually drive this way. Josh and Susan, as we were driving here to the scene, we actually saw a deer in our path, and luckily we were driving slow enough to avoid hitting it, but there are a lot of deer in this area.
Oh, it's an important reminder. It's that time of the year. Christina, keep us posted. Christina Laurie reporting live. Thank you.
We're tracking more breaking news out of Janesville overnight. Police there are investigating an armed robbery at a convenience store. It happened at around midnight at the Stop and Go store on East Milwaukee Street. Police say the suspect showed a gun and was given money before running away. They believe the same person also robbed a Casey's General Store in Milton last night. He's described as 5 feet 9 inches tall and wearing blue jeans, a gray t-shirt, and black shoes. Anyone who might have seen something is asked to call Janesville Police. We're expecting to hear from Beloit Police this morning as the department actively searches for at least one suspect after a shooting on 10th Street.
The 19-year-old victim is in critical but stable condition this morning. Beloit's police chief says the victim was shot multiple times. He's not exactly sure how this started, but he says it started around 6 o'clock yesterday evening. Police say shots were fired and a suspect went on the run. Even though there have not been any arrests yet in this case, police say they think the shooting was targeted and the public is not in any danger. More local breaking news overnight. Investigators are looking into what might have caused a fire at a mobile home in Marshall. It started around 9 o'clock last night on the 100 block of Blue Spruce Lane across from the Dollar General store. Crews were on the scene for more than 4 hours into this morning, and we're watching this developing story online at channel3000.com.
6:35 right now. Coming up in the morning sprint, we'll have the latest in the investigation after 39 bodies were found in the back of a truck in the United Kingdom.
And Christmas will be here before you know it. Christmas Eve is 4 weeks from today, Josh. Wow. We've got some tips for you to make sure your bank account is ready. That's coming up next on News 3 Now this morning. It's 6:35. We'll be right back.
.6:39 right now. We've been asking you to share your morning with us, and Felicia sent us this picture of an early morning in Edgerton. Another beautiful shot there.
I never get tired of seeing these sunrises.
It is our favorite part every morning.
Yeah, beautiful shot. Felicia, thank you for sending it.
If you've got a photo of your morning you'd like to share, all you have to do is post it over on our social media pages so we can air it right here on the program.
All right, we are now officially 2 months away from Christmas Eve. We were talking about this. We're a week away from Halloween.
Yep. A month away from Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
It's complicated.
And 2 months from Christmas Eve.
I've still got the Halloween socks on this morning, though. We've got the candy corn socks on. So believe it or not, now is the time to make sure you have enough money in your bank account ahead of the holiday season. Financial advisors say the first thing to do is make a budget and check it twice, just like Santa Claus. They say most people go about it wrong and come up with a list of people to buy for. Instead, set your holiday budget before you go near a store. And in that budget, include everything from postage for Christmas cards to holiday party favors and home decorations. Once you settle on a dollar amount, that's it. If you can't afford one gift, get another.
So a budget helps you understand what you can spend, what you want to spend, and it also helps you give some thought to the people that you want to give a gift to. So I think a budget is really useful year-round, as a matter of fact.
Financial expert Mark Farnan says budgeting is the #1 tip he gives to people planning for retirement, but it is crucial for people of every age, especially this time of year. I think it's just important to remember. We always get so spending happier on the holiday season, but you don't want to overdo it because then you always get the holiday blues, or what is it, the financial blues after the holiday?
That's exactly right, yeah. I think that's smart. You have to set a dollar limit and stick to it. That's the trick.
And if you can't afford it, find something else.
How many pairs of socks do you have?
We were trying to figure that out. I think I've got about 5 or 6 dozen. I don't know if we can take a closer look at the ones I'm wearing. We got the candy corn socks on. I don't even like candy corn, and here I am wearing candy corn socks, but
that's perfect.
The Christmas socks will be out here in just a couple of weeks.
I was just going to say that. Well, still ahead for us, Hattie is tracking some cooler temperatures, but it will be sunny heading into the weekend. That's good news. Oh, here comes the sun.
Yes.
This is my favorite picture every morning of the sun on the horizon.
Here comes the sun. Do, 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 do. That'd be something that I would do with Leah all the time. I'm being told to wrap. First, it is Thursday, October 24th. We want to wish a happy birthday to Quinn and all the other kids turning 3 today. Thanks for celebrating with News 3 Now this morning.
Good morning from the News 3 Now First Alert Weather Center. Beautiful sunrise underway this morning. A live look at the Capitol this morning. Skies are mostly clear, but that means that it's kind of a chilly start to the morning. The answer is 178 days. What is the question, you may be wondering? Well, the question is, when was the last time we were below 30 degrees and had a hard freeze here in southern Wisconsin? 178 days ago, back on April 28th. Tonight, a hard freeze is likely as forecast low temperatures are expected to be in the upper 20s. So it is going to be a chilly night. That may be good news, though. Any bugs that have been bothering you might be gone after tonight. Here's a look at that low temperature trend as we go over the next 10 nights. Again, it's generally below normal, even for this time of the year. Nighttime lows should be getting into the mid-30s by the end of next week. Next week, though, we have several nights that will be quite chilly with those overnight low temperatures in the middle 20s. So some cold air coming into the area. Already some cold air on the map. Here in southern Wisconsin, things are quiet, but take a look at the snow impacting parts of Colorado and Kansas this morning. That snow is actually going to sink southward through the day today, so there could be some snow across parts of Texas later on. The winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings are in effect for parts of Colorado into northern Texas and northeastern New Mexico. Here's a look at your weather track. A cold front has moved through the area. That brought us some rain yesterday, but now things are pretty quiet. A hole in the clouds developed overnight. High pressure is building in from the west, and that'll keep things pretty quiet around here. No airport delays at any of the major airports at this hour. Some spots, though, that could see some delays later on today. Denver might be impacted with that snow in the forecast. Take a look at the cold temperatures, though, across parts of New Mexico and Texas. It's actually going to be colder there than it will be here in Wisconsin. If you're looking for some warmth, you'll have to go to the southeast where temperatures are in the 70s today. Even a pretty nice day in D.C. with highs right around 70 degrees. It is going to be significantly cooler here in southern Wisconsin. We do have some sunshine, though, in our forecast. A little bit of cloud cover lingering right along the Mississippi River Valley this morning, but skies will be partly sunny through the day today. Temperatures starting in the mid-30s here in Madison. We have 36, 32 in the Dells. There's a little bit of a wind this morning, but not much. It's from the northwest, less than 10 miles an hour. So your future track forecast model through the day today, a light northwesterly wind and partly sunny skies. Back into the low 40s this afternoon, but topping only at 45 degrees here in Madison and across most of southern Wisconsin. It's going to be a chilly day today. Temperatures will then drop pretty quickly with clear skies overnight. Again, we will bottom out in the 20s tomorrow morning. A look at your extended forecast has cool temperatures through Friday, but mainly dry weather. Lots of sunshine as we head into the upcoming weekend. Will be warmer as well. Saturday and Sunday, highs should be in the 50s.
Oh, buddy.
Look at Ernie. That's quite the hat.
A little cheesehead.
Well, it is a hat day today, so.
Yeah, I noticed
Ernie.
you slipped a few little snowflakes in that next week.
Oh, you
maybe.
caught that, didn't you?
I did catch that.
Yeah, we may see some snowflakes next week.
That time of the year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks, Sadie.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Hattie.
Stay with us for the morning sprint up next.
The 20
Welcome back at 6:51. It is time for the morning sprint.
It's been a very busy Thursday morning. We have a lot of breaking news to update you on today, starting with Christina Laurie, who is at the scene of a semi-crash that shut down the interstate.
A heads up for drivers, if you usually take I-39 north of Madison heading into town, you'll want to find another route to go. We're told that it's going to be at least another hour until crews can clear the road of this semi-truck that's currently blocking all lanes. In the meantime, traffic is being diverted onto Highway 19, so keep that in mind as you choose your route to work. Right now, we're learning that this accident was caused when a car hit a deer, then a semi-truck hit that car, causing it to flip onto its side. This all happened shortly after 4 a.m. Be sure to stick with News 3 Now all day long for this developing story.
Christina, thank you. We're learning new information this morning on the investigation in the United Kingdom after 39 bodies were found in a truck container. All 39 bodies are believed to be Chinese nationals. A 25-year-old Northern Irish man identified as Morris Robinson has been arrested on suspicion of murder.
There's been another officer-involved shooting at a Walmart in El Paso. This comes almost 3 months after a mass shooting at a different Walmart in that same city where 22 people were killed and 24 hurt. An officer shot a man running away after driving a suspected stolen car to the Walmart. The man is dead and 2 officers involved are in the hospital.
Investigators are looking into what may have caused the fire at a mobile home in Marshall. It started at around 9 last night on the 100 block of Blue Spruce Lane across from the Dollar General store. Crews were at the scene for more than 4 hours into this morning.
In California, thousands of people are being left in the dark for the second time in 2 weeks. The state's largest utility is shutting off power again near San Francisco in hopes of preventing the spread of more wildfires. The outage is planned to last 48 hours.
Cleared some overnight, and here in southern Wisconsin, we're waking up to temperatures in the 30s in most locations, down now to 32 in the Dells, still 36 here in Madison. It is going to be a chilly day today, even despite that sunshine. Temperatures will only climb to highs in the mid-40s this afternoon.
Thank you, Hattie. This year's extreme weather continues to delay harvest across Wisconsin. Our farm babe Pam Yankee is reporting that corn is behind about 25 days. That's almost 4 weeks compared to last year. She says soybeans are also behind by 13 days over 2018. Now, because of such a late harvest this year, some reports show winter wheat planting may be prevented this season.
Harley Davidson's third quarter update shows earnings continue to fall in 2019. The Milwaukee-based company reported earnings per share and operation margins were ahead of expectations, but U.S. retail rates are down 3.6%. Tariffs continue to remain an impacting factor on the company. Earnings have dropped 24% since this time last year.
Republicans brought House Democrats' impeachment investigation of President Trump to a temporary halt Wednesday. About 24 GOP members stormed into a closed-door deposition with Defense Department official Laura Cooper. She later testified after a 5-hour delay. This comes just a day after President Trump told Republicans to get tougher on impeachment.
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg spent more than 6 hours in front of the House Financial Services Committee testifying about his plans for a new cryptocurrency. However, Zuckerberg faced a bipartisan backlash on a variety of other topics, including election security, online privacy, and policing harmful content.
The body of former U.S. Representative Elijah Cummings will lie in the U.S. Capitol today. Cummings died last week at age 68 from complications related to long-standing health problems. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says the formal service is open to members of Congress, the Cummings family, and invited guests. It will be followed by a public viewing.
The Beloit Police Department is actively searching for at least one suspect after a shooting on 10th Street yesterday. The 19-year-old victim is in critical but stable condition this morning after being shot multiple times. No arrests have been made. Police believe the shooting was targeted and the public is not in any danger.
A Missouri cattle farmer will be in court today after being officially charged with killing 2 Wisconsin brothers. 25-year-old Garland Nelson is accused of fatally shooting Nick and Justin Diemel of Shawano County. The brothers had driven to Nelson's farm to collect a $250,000 check. Police say he then burned their bodies and tried to hide the remains in manure. The 2 were first reported missing back in July.
A verdict could come today in a Janesville homicide case. Julian Colazzo is accused of stabbing 43-year-old Christina Lubeck inside her home in 2017. The jury deliberated for a few hours yesterday after hearing from witnesses over the course of 3 days, including Colazzo himself.
In Stevens Point, a man faces life in prison after a jury found him guilty of killing his wife. It took the jury only 2 hours after closing arguments to come to their decision. Jason Cipher's wife, Krista, hasn't been seen since March of 2017. More than a year later, Jason was arrested and charged with her murder and hiding her body, which still has not been found. Cipher's defense team says they plan to appeal the verdict.
The Milwaukee Bucks officially tip off their season tonight with high expectations. They lost Malcolm Brogdon in the offseason, but bring back reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo and Chris Middleton. They'll get a tough challenge right out of the gate tonight in Houston against the Rockets. Tip-off is set for 7 o'clock.
Coming up on 6:57, let's turn it over to Jason Stone with a look at your first alert traffic. Hi, Jason.
Hello. The westbound Beltline slows down at Stoughton Road and clearing after Monona Drive. All other lanes are at the posted speed limit. Nothing of concern on John Nolan at this time. All lanes on the southbound interstate beyond the Highway 19 exit are closed due to a crash. Drivers should take the exit to 19 and head east on 51 to get back on the interstate. It was just reported an accident has occurred on 19 prior to 51 as well. Also, an incident has been reported at the East Wash Stoughton Road intersection. With your first alert traffic, I'm Jason Stone.
All right, quite the mess on the roads out there this morning, Jason. Thank you.
Yeah, be safe on the roads this morning. Skies are clear. It's a chilly start to the day today. Temperatures are pretty close to the freezing point in many spots. We will climb to highs in the mid-40s with partly sunny skies.
All right, thank you, Hattie, and thank you for joining us. Go make it a great day.
Not a